Today, I'm going to be searching the internet for hidden horror games on Roblox. There are 3 rules we are going to be following. 1, it must have a low view count, meaning a low number of visits. I'm going to be making the threshold around 100,000 or so. Usually around that number is when it starts getting a bit of recognition and variety, and people start making videos about it and everything, which leads us into our second rule. It must have very few videos made about it. Like I said before, we are finding hidden horror game. It kind of defeats the purpose if it has over 100,000 views on YouTube and people have made plenty of videos on such game. We are searching for games that have yet to be found or discovered. And finally, it must be a horror game, obviously. Now, I need you guys to listen closely. At the end of each of the games, I'm going to be ranking them by the number of hearts they get. 1 heart, meaning the game wasn't that good or scary or graphics were terrible, or whatever the case may be. 2 heart means the game was decent, maybe scared me 1 or 2 times, something I would recommend people to play. 3 hearts, meaning game was absolutely phenomenal, 10 out of 10, would recommend, please come back again. Absolutely terrifying, and plenty of jump scares. Now, with that being said, let's get into it. The first game on our list will be Swamp Sim Horror Game, and like most games off Roblox, it's based off of a real horror game called Swamp Sim Horror Game. Go figure. Now, this game wasn't difficult to find. It only took a few scrolls in the horror genre, and I happened to come across it, only sitting at a few thousand views. Now, this game starts you off in a forest surrounded by fire as a start menu. It doesn't look that bad graphically, especially when you get started in the actual game. Dropping you off in a forest with nothing but a flashlight, you must find your way around to figure out your task. It took me a while to figure out what my task actually was, because this game gives you no type of instructions or guidance, and the forest is freaking dark and kind of big. Well, the map wasn't actually that big, but it was kind of hard to navigate throughout the map, especially when there's only 1 map on the game that was really hard to understand. I later found out a good 40 minutes into the game, running around endlessly, that you're supposed to find onions scattered throughout the map. Now, the actual scary part of this game, or what is supposed to be scary, is Shrek, you know, chasing you around the map. Now, the biggest thing I would change about this game that could make this significantly more scarier is changing Shrek's speed. Because, man, is he slow. Now, a quick side note here. I haven't played any of these games to the fullest, so keep that in mind. Maybe Shrek's speed does increase throughout the game with the more onions you collect. But as far as I'm concerned, that man was slow. Eventually, at some point of searching on this ridiculously confusing map, I decided to just let Shrek kill me. Overall, I give this game 1 heart. Because I did not have fun, it did not scare me, it was kind of boring, really. But hey, maybe one of you could possibly enjoy it, give it a try, sure. On to game 2. Now, this game is inspired by a recently popular game called Lethal Company. This game is called The Cave Game. So this game is still under development, so we can cut it some slack. But the first thing I noticed was how freaking dark it was. I mean, if you don't buy a flashlight, you can't play this game. Now, like I said before, it's inspired by Lethal Company, so it's gonna share a lot of similarities to that game. It starts you off in a ship where you can buy items, sell scraps, and even change maps. Well, that last part is still under development, I guess. Once you make your way off to the ship into a dark cave, and let me remind you again, you need a flashlight. You explore the cave looking for scraps and items to sell back at the ship. However, just like Lethal Company, there will be entities lurking throughout the dark depths of the cave that you will need to be wary of. I'm not sure how many entities are currently in the game. I've only encountered 1 so far, but there could be more as you play more of the game. Although I had a bit of fun playing this game, it's still under development, so there were problems here and there, but I think this game has great potential to be an amazing game. With that being said, I will give this game 2 hearts. I definitely think you guys should check this game out and see if you like it. Now for the third game, Hungry, which is the only game I actually finished, by the way. This game starts you off as a normal kid in a normal home, and you're all alone in the middle of the night. You may hear some noises, a few creaks and cracks, as it's your mission to gather some snacks. But beware of the entities lurking in the dark, because you may very well be your last mark. You like that? That was really good, wasn't it? Snap it. Snap it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So this game's pretty cut and dry. You got the munchies and you're looking for some crunchies. Your whole mission is just to get some food from out the fridge, so you make your way downstairs. Once you get to the fridge, you get some snacks, and then that's pretty much the end of the game. So with that, I think this game was really lackluster and boring and very fast-paced, and it wasn't scary at all. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm gonna be giving it 1 heart. And on to the next. I'm just joking, obviously. You would think that the game would be over once you kind of completed the thing that the game is titled after, but you get up like 12 more times for all type of random crap, like grabbing toys and checking on the temperature, and because you hear someone knocking and you hear someone call your name and demonic chanting and all type of craziness. And might I say, you make some pretty dumb decisions throughout this game. And the only smart decision you make throughout this game is towards the end when you actually grab a weapon. And prior to making that smart decision, you make the dumb choice of choosing a slingshot as a weapon. When you hear someone opening doors down the hallway and you know your parents out of town, it could be an intruder, a rapist, a demon, a monster, you choose to grab a slingshot. And then once you lay back in bed, then you process like, hey, I don't think this will hurt anyone. So with all that being said, this game will be receiving 2 hearts. I know you must be wondering, why is this one so freaking fast? Jesus, level your bro. Humorous. It's actually a reason for it. This game is actually very fast paced. You wake up, you get snacks, you get up like 12 different times because you hear some noises, you grab yourself a weapon, and that's the end of the game. It's really fast, this game. That's really the reasons why it was one of the few games that I actually completed. I wish this game was a bit longer, but it was a bitter, short and sweet experience. So I enjoyed it while it lasted and can't say much about it other than that. I wish the character made a bit more smarter decisions. It did creep me out at certain points in time, so it does get plenty of points for that. I understood the story once you read the description. I'm confused. Oh, you are home alone. Your parents and siblings are out on a road trip for a few days. Okay, got it. I was a little kid. That's why I grabbed the slingshot. That makes sense now. I wish she was a bit longer, but other than that, you know, short and sweet. On to the next. Endless Road was actually a ton of fun. This game is called Endless Road, if you didn't hear me before. And it is exactly what it implies. There's a road that's pretty much endless that you will be walking. Well, it's not really a road. It's more of a hallway building thing because there's freaking light bulbs and metal floors, and it's obviously you're indoors. You're not outside. This game was actually one of the few games that actually scared me. Like all the other games maybe creep me out here and there, but this game legit made me jump. This game is going to start you off in a building because it's not a road. It's dark and there's going to be a long hallway. And you're going to find a note that says find the right direction and pay attention. Meaning you're going to need to start running down the hallway in the correct direction. Otherwise you will get the bejesus scared out of you. And I mean seriously, it's terrifying. Got it. I got it, sir. This is the right direction. Never again. You don't know which way to go. One of the things I will say right away that I really like about this game is the noise, how quiet it is. The ambience. The ambience is really like, you can really hear the footsteps, the flashlight turning on and off, and the jump scares just comes out of nowhere. It's super loud and just jerks your screen. And the way it's set up is just perfect for jump scares because it's unexpected. You're paying attention, trying to find the right direction. I think it's all set up perfectly for scaring the person playing the game. And that's what makes for a true horror game, in my personal opinion. Once you're making your way down the hallway, if you're not running in the right direction, you will be quickly aware of it. Eventually, you'll make your way to a storage room where you need to utilize your inner parkour skills, while also avoiding a freaking floating shadow of a monster chasing you, which, by the way, is also freaking terrifying. Unfortunately, that's pretty much where I decided to stop playing because I don't want this video to be too long. So I don't know what happens after that. But in the short span I did play this game, I did have a ton of fun. I love the ambience, the quietness, the creepy vibes of the game. It really is a horror game and it shows it. And with all of that, I still haven't even finished the game, so I know it still has a ton more to give. Or maybe as soon as you finish the storage room, the game ends there, which that would suck. But I'm going off the assumption there's plenty more to the game. So I will be giving this game 3 hearts. I think each and every one of you should definitely check it out, see if you like it, if you agree whether or not this game is deserving of my 3 hearts. And finally, for the final game on our list, we have 11 Miles. Let me start off by saying this game already gets points for storytelling, graphics, and most of the mechanics. I would say it's probably one of the best, if not the best game on the list when it comes to those 3 things. There is one bone I have to pick with it, but we'll get to that once we get to it. You're going to be starting off as your character in the middle of the road in your car, which has apparently broken down in the middle of the road in a forest, a dark forest. And there just so happened to be another car right in front of you that happens to be perfectly running, I think. As you get out of your car to go check out this car to see if it's running so you can steal it, because there's no legal repercussions for that, an ominous force is suddenly felt as it sends shivers down your spine. You suddenly decide to abandon all cars, go dashing deep into the forest until you run across a abandoned cabin which screams ghosts and demonic activity. Which screams demonic activity. You still decide to go inside. You then make the ridiculous decision to decide that this feels safe enough to stay the night, so let's do that until all the paranormal activity blows over. Because if you see a ghost in the street and it chases you to a haunted house, that's the decision you have to make. Sleep in that haunted house until the ghost goes away. Makes perfect sense. Now, throughout the night of you deciding to stay inside the slaughterhouse, lo and behold, you start experiencing more paranormal activity inside of the cabin. Now, the goal of the game is obviously to survive throughout the night without dying or being possessed or being raped or whatever the crap the demons are trying to do. But there will be notes scattered throughout the map as you're playing the game that you need to be collecting. If you happen to collect all of the games, then it will unlock you access to chapter 2 of the game, which is the version I haven't played, but I did play the entirety of chapter 1. So I can give this game a pretty good accurate rating. And with that being said, the only complaint I have about this game, and it's a pretty big complaint, is this game simply isn't that scary, unfortunately. Now again, as far as storyline, graphics, and some of the mechanics go, it is phenomenal. It's just that the other portion of the mechanics, the part that's supposed to make it scary, just weren't all that scary. Throughout the game, you will encounter a number of entities that will be trying to take your butt cheeks, but you will need to avoid them and dodge and duck. I'm not sure if it's because of the lack of chasing or the way the jump scares are set up, but I think the mechanics need to be worked on as far as the monsters. The scariest part about this game was towards the end where there's actually a chasing scene, but I pretty much avoided having this monster chasing me because the item you need to collect and get out of that room was simply down the hallway, and there's all this other space where the monsters are, where I simply wasn't forced to interact with the monster. So the just scariness of the game came out a bit lackluster for me. So overall, I will give this game 2 hearts. I think the game is an amazing game as far as the most part, but it's just that small itsy bitsy part that makes a horror game just isn't there for me. I can only really complain about one thing. It's just that one thing may be the most important thing when it comes to horror games. All right, so that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed my freaking list. Let me know if you agree. If you do not agree, if you think I should change some things up, check out all these games. Really, I think each and every one of them has their own uniqueness to them and their own complaints about them. But I think that depending on what you're really looking for, you could get enjoyment out of each and every one of them. That is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know how you felt about it and whether or not you want me to make more content like this. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.